Hey everybody, thanks for joining us for the Cheerful Ghost Roundtable. The Cheerful Ghost Roundtable is an open discussion with people from the Cheerful Ghost community about awesome stuff in video games, brought to you by cheerfulghost.com. And it's a special episode. We're going to be talking about Rogue One, which is a new Star Wars film. Hopefully you've seen it. Maybe you haven't. We're going to be talking about that today. In the house, we've got a small house today. Is Travis and myself. We might be joined later by someone else. It's entirely possible. We'll keep the suspense going. But we're going to start things off the way that we always do. We're going to start the show off. Travis, what you been playing? What you watching?
Well, what I've been playing is nothing much in the past few days. I got into the recent update for No Man's Sky, which was pretty incredible considering what they added in terms of what you can do. It's almost like doubling what you can do in this world, in this galaxy. So it's pretty awesome. Also been playing the recent Super Mario Run on mobile, which is ambitious and it hits a lot of the right notes, and it's a lot of fun, but there's a lot of really questionable decisions Nintendo made with it. But overall,
we've been talking about that. We've been talking about it on the site for sure.
Yeah.
I think there were. I don't love the tickets.
No.
I don't love the Toad thing. I don't get that. But the base game I think is fun, and I sort of wrote a review of the first level. So that's another game that I've been playing as well, Super Mario Run. Just that first level, and I think it's pretty good. Like the game.
Yeah.
Just tapping that button, it's fun.
Yeah, it is. And as far as endless runners go, I mean, the mechanics of it are great. The demo that you get, the first 3 levels, it's not really a very good demo. I was really kind of unimpressed with it until I decided to bite the bullet and buy it, and then almost immediately it starts getting more and more fun. So yeah, it's some strange decisions in there, but it's a lot of fun. As for watching, we have recently finished up Person of Interest, which is
That's a TV show, right?
Yeah, it's a Jonathan Nolan show. He worked with Abrams and Bad Robot on it. And we're now rewatching Westworld because we watched that as it aired, and now we want to go back and rewatch it. Another Jonathan Nolan show. That show is amazing. I recommend that to anybody. It's all sci-fi futuristic where robots, and you're questioning like what it means to be a person because of the artificial intelligence. Good sci-fi.
Awesome. I've heard a lot of really great things about Westworld, but I haven't seen it. People at work have been talking about it. I don't have access to any HBO stuff, sort of minus cable. So, yeah.
Well, you have access to it.
Right. Access. Yeah. So, no, I haven't actually seen it. I've heard really good things about it, but no, I haven't seen it. But I have access, like legit access to so much stuff. So Westworld's just a show I haven't seen. So you been playing anything recently? Oh, you played Super Mario Run. Yeah. You talked about that. Right?
Yeah, No Man's Sky.
Oh yeah, there we are. Yeah. So you like the update? Is that rolling okay with you?
Yeah. They had a lot to prove, and they're kind of proving it. So I think that's good. A lot of the vitriol from the community is kind of turned around, which is good.
Yeah, I hope so. I think that's, like I said in the last roundtable, I think the overall community, I think the community consensus for that game is going to be eventually that it's pretty good, that they had some jilted sort of launch, promises, I suppose. But we've talked about that so much already. So what I've been playing is, like Travis, Super Mario Run. I've only played that first level. I think the demo's pretty good. I don't know. There's probably way more to the game, though. It seems like if you count the 3 versions of each level in there, I think there's a lot to play. So, everyone, Adam is a special guest who's joining us for the roundtable. So he just joined up. Hey, Adam.
Hello,
Yo,
Adam.
what's up?
Hey, not much. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate that.
I had an echo going. I was watching it on YouTube while I was trying to figure out how to join, and I got that stopped.
Absolutely. Yeah, welcome. So I've been playing that, and I think Super Mario Run is pretty good. And people ask me, am I going to buy it? I'm like, well, I think I probably will when it's time, when I run out of game to play. And so since I sunk like 4 or 5 hours into one level, if I keep going, I'll be buying that game probably in the next 5 weeks. As how I play mobile games, you know what I mean? Like 15 minutes here and there or whatever. But it's fun to get a high score and just kind of continually beat, and like sort of progress and do a little bit better than you did before. And I've never really had a game where I sort of optimized a run before like that, so that's been kind of fun. So the new Hearthstone expansion is out still, and the new cards and make and do decks. And I wrote on Cheerful Ghost recently about the new cards that I crafted as part of the expansion. And I've been really enjoying that. That's been a lot of fun. It's really fun to I love Hearthstone. I'll probably be playing it for years, so it's just great. Or maybe forever. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe video games and relationships don't last forever. I don't know. All right, and then the final chapter of Nova Covert Ops StarCraft 2 came out. Don't know if I talked about this in the last roundtable, but it was really fun. I think it wrapped it up well. It kind of positions Nova to be, like what I don't know. Travis, do you have StarCraft 2 Legacy? Did you ever play that? Did you play Legacy of the Void at all?
No, I have the first 2. I haven't bought Legacy of the Void yet.
Okay. Well, anyways, so I'm not going to spoil it, but I think they're positioning Nova to be kind of the new human good faction, I guess. And she's cool, spunky, evil, good at the same time. It's kind of more gray, which is good. I think it's cool. I kind of like her character. And it was fun. It's fun to head back into StarCraft. I don't know what they're going to be doing now. They released a comic book for free, which was interesting. So I don't know kind of if we're going to get much more game or whatever. Hopefully, they keep releasing more stuff that's as good as that was, and I'll keep buying it. And finally, I watched Arrival, which is a film, and I'm going to be good. It's really, so good. Really good. And I'm going to be comparing Arrival to Rogue One, which isn't fair, but I'm going to do it because they're both science fiction films, and I think about them in different ways, but I think that they're interesting because it's interesting to compare, Star Wars science fiction versus kind of another version. Spoiler alert, Arrival's a beautiful movie, and I seriously recommend you watch it. I kind of had an emotional...
That's not much of a spoiler.
It's not. No, it's not. And I had an actual, emotional reaction to the movie, and I'm not saying if you don't have kids, you don't understand the emotions of this movie. You can't. You absolutely can. I think you can get it. It's funny because I think some people are like, you don't understand Inception unless you have kids. And it's whatever. But I do have one. And, he's a little guy. And it was great. The movie was just phenomenal and really emotional. And now I'm really curious what problem Script had. Because if you watch the last roundtable, he had a big problem with it, which was a huge spoiler. And now I'm really curious what that was because I didn't have a big problem with it at all. So, Adam... what you been watching? What you been playing?
Oh, I've been playing not a lot, but when I do play, I play Plague Inc. on my phone a bunch.
That's a fun one. I've got that.
It's a good one just to play, when they have an hour here or there. And then I always go back to FTL. Not much else. I think that I've been playing. Let's see. I've been watching. I heard Travis mention Westworld.
Yes.
That was freaking amazing. I love that show. It really makes you, think about what really is consciousness and, what is life and what makes one life valuable and another not. And it's interesting. And just the way they told the story and how it evolved and, you see I'm not going to say anything, but it's just good. See it. I was watching The Walking Dead, which is okay. DC, all the CW channel shows, The Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, and then Legends of Tomorrow, which I haven't got into too much yet. But they just had a big 4-episode massive crossover show that was fun.
That was fun. So, I don't watch any of them religiously except for Flash, but I watched all of them because of the connection. That was pretty fun.
Exactly. So that's what I've been playing and watching.
Awesome. That's awesome. I don't watch any of the DC shows. I saw a few episodes of the or what's that show with the guy that punches people and takes punches really good and almost gets killed but doesn't get killed because he's a superhero and he won't get killed because it's Marvel. Daredevil. There we are. Daredevil.
Daredevil was good too.
Yeah, that was really good.
That's kind of what got me started on the superhero kick. I watched Daredevil first, and then I decided Flash happened to be available on Netflix. I started watching that, and then started watching Arrow, and then I didn't want to watch Supergirl, but I saw Flash was going to be on Supergirl, so I started watching Supergirl.
That's cool. That's cool. She's a girl and she's super. That sounds awesome. He's a man and he's super. They're so super. So we saw a little indie film by Gareth Eduardo or something. Gareth Edwards. Anyways, it's a movie about stars called Star Wars. I think it's Rogue One, a Star Wars story is actually what it's called. So they're switching it up. So I guess like Han Solo, a Star Wars story or something like that. That's going to be the next non-Skywalker episode, which is the Han Solo movie. Anyways, we all saw it. And we're going to talk about it, and we're gonna split it up. So we're going to talk about not spoilers now for Rogue One, and then we're going to be talking about spoilers later. Don't worry, we'll give you plenty of time if you can bail if you want. And it'll be the spoilers of the spoils. And I recommend that if you haven't seen it, you probably should wait when we do spoilers. You probably should, because I'll post the episode on the website so you can finish when you're ready. All right, so. The first question. So I want to go just kind of get everyone's thoughts on what they thought of the movie. So Adam, really quick, what are your spoiler-free thoughts on Rogue One, a Star Wars story?
Rogue One was possibly it could be the best Star Wars movie, and also I hated it also. So
all right. Well, there we are. I guess we'll get more into that later.
Travis. Lots of spoiler talk to explain that.
Absolutely. So it was the best and he hated it, right? So you basically married the movie. Gotcha. Travis?
I guess I'm somewhere in between the being best and hating it. I thought it was really good. I thought it might have been the best one we've had since Empire, but maybe not. I need some more time to make that call.
Well, we're gonna rank them later, Travis. So you better come prepared.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough, but yeah, I really liked it. It's not perfect, but it was really good.
All right, I'm gonna say that Rogue One was a good Star Wars film, and when I put that out there on social media, people were like, "Did you love it?" And I heard that a lot. And my answer, thanks, Adam. My answer is not yet, I guess. But actually more than that is it's complicated. I'm going to put that tag on how I thought of the movie, because why did you think it was great? I think that currently in society and culture and social media and everything and fandom, you have these push and pulls. And it's either you're an orgasmed over it or something, and you're like, Star Wars, or you hate it, it's the worst thing ever. I wish we didn't have to be pulled into such extremes. I said it was a good movie, and I still think it's a good movie. But I really want to watch it more to see if it was a great one. And I wouldn't say that for me right now it is, because there's a lot, and we'll sort of unpack it later, that I kind of want to watch again. I want to see how it fits into the other movies by watching them. I kind of want to look at a few other things. But yeah, I'm going to say that my thoughts on Rogue One is it's a good movie, but it's complicated and there's a lot there and we can get into it. So yeah, I think so. Just a few things about it before we get into huge specifics. It was a long. At some point, I actually kind of got bored with the movie because I thought it was a little long and a little plodding. And then there are some parts in the movie where I was like, this is really great. This might be one of the best action scenes in a Star Wars movie. So on one hand,
I don't think I was ever bored.
No, I don't think I was either.
Maybe boredom. I think that's the wrong word. Maybe it was like, what are we doing? Like, what's the point of this? You know what I mean? Am I like wondering what the point of this is in a Star Wars movie? And we're going to compare it to Force Awakens, and I have some stuff to say about that too. But yeah, all that said, I think it was good, and I'm gonna buy it, and I'm gonna watch it again, and I kind of want to sort of have that form my opinion. I do want to make a huge complaint though, and Adam was watching the movie with me. You know, friends don't let friends watch Star Wars alone. So
I'm there for you.
He was right. He was right to my left. You know, he was on my left. You know, because we have to hold hands the whole time. I'm like, hold me. It's, you know, it's really important. But during the movie, I'm actually thinking at some point maybe I just might I hope the movie can just stream to my house, because I'm kind of thinking maybe at some point I just might not go to the movie theater anymore. And the reason why is because we went to go see it the night it opened. Like, you can't go see it sooner than that on the West Coast. It was 7 p.m. You couldn't really see it sooner than that. And so it's fans, a lot of fans. And there's this woman to our back, and every beat for the movie, she's like, oh my. And someone, you know, something happens and she's like, ah! And I'm like, I'm not there. You know, I care about these characters, but I'm not, you know, I'm not doing it. I think there are two kinds of people in a theater. I don't mind when people are clapping and enjoying it. And when we saw, Adam and I were actually there too, but we saw Empire Strikes Back, a special charity screening in Portland. It was a huge audience of fans. It was like people were dressed up, and when Luke kisses Leia, spoiler alert, by the way, for Empire, the entire audience went crazy, which was amazing.
I don't remember that.
You don't? Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing.
I fell asleep.
Yeah, he's a terrible fan. But it was awesome. No, it was incredible. And that was great. And people clapping and having a good time. I don't mind that. However, if you're that one person who's like, oh, I just stop, please. Stop.
Yeah, they were enjoying it.
I know I'm a killjoy, but it was distracting. I think that, and I went to see The Arrival recently, and there was a guy there who I swear was pretending we were at church, because something would happen. He's like, that's right. He said everything but amen. And I'm not saying that the movie doesn't have those beats, but every beat where the movie wants you to feel something, he was there and he was telling you about it. He's like, that, oh yeah. And I'm like, dude, this ain't church, shut up. Anyways, so I know people are enjoying it, but I'm just like, it just kind of brings me out of it more than.
There was a little kid there that kept doing the Vader breathing, like right behind us to the right.
I didn't hear that. That's cute.
And you know, again, I was in a public place and the kid was having fun, whatever.
Okay, that I did not hear. Apparently, I'm oblivious to little kid noises, but fan people just being like, "Whoa!" I just was like, "Please stop." But you're right; they're having fun, and you know, killjoy enemy fun. So, So I was curious what we expected going into Rogue One, and if our expectations were met. So in the last roundtable, I ranked what I thought Rogue One was be before I go into it. And I think it was like a 7 or an 8. I'm curious what you guys thought into this, Travis. Actually, Adam, what did you think going into Rogue One? What were your expectations, and did the movie meet them? See.
My expectations were for a story to be told that was more, I don't want to. I had high expectations.
Me too. Maybe too high, I think.
I don't know if I can go too much into what I was expecting without then saying, and it didn't do this, it didn't do that, and have it be spoilers. When something doesn't happen in a movie, is it a spoiler?
No, it's not.
Well, I still feel like it is.
Fair. That's fine.
I'll talk more about that later, just to be on the safe side. But I expected it. It did not meet my expectations. I expected a lot of it, and it did not.
So you're putting it on a performance improvement plan. I'm sorry, Gareth Edwards. It did not meet expectations. All right. Not quite pink slip. Travis.
But at the same time, it was awesome.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason I love and hate it at the same time.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like it. Travis.
Well, I didn't have incredibly high expectations for it because
in a text chat you said you thought it was going to be a 10 out of 10, Travis. That sounded like an expectation.
I was totally joking when I was talking about.
Okay.
Yeah,
you're just fanboying out right there.
No, I kind of expected that I would find it personally 10 out of 10. because I fanboy over stuff like that. But in terms of like what the movie would do, I didn't really have incredibly high expectations for it because it's like the first of the spin-off line, or not really spin-off, but you know what I mean, not part of the core series.
Yeah.
They're doing a lot of things differently. You know, we find out there's not going to be an opening crawl. There's always an opening crawl, so yeah.
I don't think a lack of opening crawl, spoiler alert. By the way, they let us know before the movie started that was going to happen. Like, that was in the news. But I don't think it mattered to me.
No.
Not having the spoiler crawl didn't seem like it wasn't Star Wars, honestly. And frankly, when I watched The Force Awakens and the spoiler crawl happened, it seemed kind of like a parody to me in a way. Like,
right. Yeah, no, I felt kind of the same way. I liked that it didn't have the crawl. It just jumped into it.
Yeah, exactly. Because we've been seeing these parodies of crawls, and this is a new one, and it just seems so surreal to me. I was like, is this really a thing? Like, there's a crawl. Why? It's it's this new Star Wars movie for real. It's so weird. It was just so weird. But it works now. But the first time, it was so surreal, I thought.
Yeah. But since this isn't really a spoiler, the entire movie is the opening crawl of Episode 4.
Yep.
There's not really a big problem with not having it. But I mean, ultimately, I went into it with lowered expectations just because of how different from everything it was. But what we got was something that I didn't imagine was even possible for them to do. And I can go into more detail on that later.
We will be talking about that for sure.
But I was blown away by what we got. I thought that it was better than it had any reason to be. Like I said, it's not perfect. It had some issues, but I thought it was great.
So my expectations going into Rogue One were super tippy-top high. We were seeing tweets from people that were at the premiere that said this is the best Star Wars movie. This is a really good movie. It's so dark. It's so great. And so I boarded the hype train, which is a mistake. Almost always a mistake to board the hype train. You can never, those expectations will never be met. It's just not possible. So I was a bit disappointed with what I saw, because it's not, spoiler, it's not better than The Empire Strikes Back. It's not better than the original Star Wars movie. It's just really good. It's not better than those movies. At least not after first viewing. It might be. After I view it more, it could possibly, but I don't think after the first viewing, I don't think that was clear to me. So yeah, I just, so my expectations were like, again, I pre-rated it, and the other one I thought it would be like a 7 or an 8. And I think that's probably mostly fine. I think that's mostly right, what I thought.
Back when you guys had your roundtable talking about it and pre-scored it, I probably would have given it a 4 or a 5.
Interesting. Okay.
But then, like you said, the hype train right before it just ratcheted up that hype level, and my expectations went way too high.
Right. See, the thing about that is that Batman versus Superman had that exact same kind of response, like all the people seeing early screenings saying this is the best movie I've ever seen and stuff like that. So I really don't listen to any kind of pre-hype, because it seems like if it comes out before a review embargo, they might have been paid for it. So I just don't even listen to it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good thing. I think next time I'm just going to kind of avoid the hype train, but I was so wanting to just kind of like, because
it's hard to avoid
the thinking before this movie, or the internet think pieces, were all about reshoots. And I think the reshoots were pretty obvious in this movie. And if you sort of look at the trailers versus what we got, I think it's obvious what they changed. I don't think
the trailers. Do you think the trailers were because of reshoots, or do you think it was?
Well, I think there was a lot of scenes in the trailers that weren't in the movie. I mean, like there were quite a few scenes in the trailers that just weren't in the final movie. So
right. But what I'm saying is that, was that on purpose, or was that because of reshoots? Where they
I think it was
the story.
Fair enough. No, I don't think it was masking it. I think that's what they had that was really good, that would go in a trailer at the time, and then over the process of the production of the film, the movie changed because of a couple things. Probably Disney wanted the tone altered, and the movie needed to be improved in some way. And I don't think the reshoots harmed this movie, but what we were getting pre-movie was that this movie was a train wreck, and the reshoots were like massive. And clearly the reshoots were massive. The movie's not a train wreck. It's actually really good. It's just so I think that the internet needs hype. People need things to freak out about. I didn't think the movie's going to be bad because of reshoots, and that was clearly the case. But I think that there were obvious parts where it seemed like people's motivations weren't clear, things happened, et cetera, which we'll get into in spoilers. And then, just trailer versus movie or whatnot. So yeah, but I don't think it was any deception on Disney's part. I think they just really wanted a different movie. And so they reshot a bit of it. So, and it would be interesting to find out kind of what Gareth was planning with that and what the original stuff was. I think that maybe it was a darker movie, I think.
I know that some of it was never intended to be in the movie. I don't want to go into. Well, I don't want to say it. Just
okay,
in case somebody thinks it's a spoiler, I don't want to say it. But there were a couple of shots in the trailer that were never intended to be in there.
Interesting.
One of them was like a kind of like a screen test that they just thought was really cool, so they decided to put it in the trailer.
Oh, badass! Let's figure out what that one is later. But that was in the trailer, so I don't think it's a spoiler. But all right, so we're going to go into the spoiler section. I want to talk about this for a couple seconds. We are going to spoil the movie. There are a couple surprises when I came into this movie that I really don't think you should be spoiled for. So unless you want us to wreck your Christmas, and take your presents like the Grinch, we're going to go to the top of the mountain, and we're not coming down. We're not gonna get a heart. We got 3 sizes too small. We're not going to get a bigger heart, and we're not going to return your presents. Being the spoiled movie, so. You should turn it off right now when I come back. All right. Spoilers! All right. Darth Vader's Luke's father. And is Rogue One required viewing now that you've seen it to watch the original trilogy? Like, do you consider this canon now? Travis, what do you think?
That was one of the things that I was mentioning when we were talking about the expectations.
Right.
Something that it did that I didn't think it could have done is that it made 3 movies better, at least.
And it's mostly the prequels.
Well, I think it's episode 4, 6, and 3 that it makes better.
Okay, why Jedi? I'm curious.
Because the second Death Star makes far more sense when you realize that the Empire knows there was a flaw put in the original one to begin with.
Right.
So.
I really liked that aspect of Rogue One, that Galen Erso joined the Empire, knew that the Death Star was going to be built, and wanted to stick it to them by putting a flaw in it. Because I think that it's been a nerd point for a while, where maybe people like Star Wars, but they're like, "Wow, is there a flaw in this big thing that just seems so stupid?" And you did it twice, and now they made a movie about kind of retconning that, being like, well, actually, guys, it was sabotage from a double cross, you know what I mean? Which is cool, it makes a lot of sense. Like, yeah, for what Rogue One does right, and there's a lot, you buying that, you totally buy that, so that's really good. So you think that for me personally, Travis, I think that it makes Revenge of the Sith a little bit. Does. I don't know if it makes it a better movie, because I don't think it's not one of my favorites, but I think that it makes aspects of the movie more interesting. And this is one thing that I was talking to Travis about. I think Gareth did right by George Lucas and the prequels, and I know there's a lot of prequel hate, and I'm not trying to embrace them. I think they're fine. I don't love them or whatever. I'm not trying to apologize and say this redeems them or whatever. But I don't know what Gareth was trying to do. But I think that what he did was, by pulling in Bail Organa and pulling in Mon Mothma and then Vader's castle on Mustafar, which I've heard they're going to tie into Episode 8 in some way. Maybe. I don't know. It's kind of something. But that I think in a way it kind of honors the prequels, and it doesn't take the bad parts of them. It takes the good stuff, you know what I mean? The stuff that, makes sense in a movie. And I really liked that about the movie. I really did. Because I think it elevates that material a lot, actually. Yeah. So.
And one thing about, there's the big question about whether you should watch the original trilogy, then watch the prequels. Like how if you're doing a rewatch, how should you rewatch them all?
And just don't watch the prequels.
Right. Okay. Let's just assume you're watching the prequels.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It kind of changes the order for me, because that is such a good tie-in between 3 and 4 that it makes sense to watch it 1 through all the way and include that in the middle of it all.
Yeah, maybe I would just say like start with 3 and then just go with Rogue One, 4, and then continue on, because I think the first 2 are largely not relevant. If you wanted to be interested in the Clone Wars, just watch the cartoon. It's better. So
I would say start with Rogue One, watch the original trilogy, then hit 3 and 4, or 2 and 3 if you want, and then Force Awakens. Yeah. But I would definitely put Rogue One first. It doesn't spoil anything, and it just sets up 4 so well.
Yeah. Adam, I think Travis, can you hear his audio a little crackly to you?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. All right. So, yeah, that's interesting. So I think that for me, someone was asking me at work, like, I've never seen Star Wars. What should I start with? And I'm like, well, do you want to go see Rogue One? Because maybe start with that. But I don't think that maybe that's a great idea in thinking about it, because it's really dark and you might get the wrong impression about what the Skywalker films are. They're a lot lighter than that. And I wonder, like, I'm looking at it from the perspective of watching the original film so many times. So I don't know. But when I see it again, probably watch them all. I'll probably start with Rogue One, actually. Probably would. So
yeah, I don't think that Rogue One is the best to start with if you've never seen them before, because a lot of the impact from Rogue One, like seeing Vader at the end being a badass,
right?
a lot of that impact is so much. It's more of an impact because of what we know.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. So some people said Star Wars Rogue One's the best Star Wars movie ever. Is it? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think it could be the best standalone. If each movie existed and the others didn't, it could be the best Star Wars movie.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a great movie. It's a good war movie, and it's dark, but it's a lot of fun all the way through. There's good battle. There's a coherent plot line through the whole thing. I like the characters. I really liked it. But is that my audio that's bad?
Yeah,
I believe so.
So yeah. I definitely think that could be. If they weren't, considered, for sure. But yeah, I think that for me, when I'm watching it again, I'm probably like put it in there or whatever. But yeah. So I want to talk about our new ranking of the Star Wars movies, because I think that and then kind of how it pairs up to The Force Awakens, because it's like the newest one, and I was thinking about it, and it's hard to not compare it. But actually, I want to talk about how it pairs up to Force Awakens first. I'll start with me first. I think that so which movie do you like better? I think I like The Force Awakens better. Sorry. Apparently my wife has to come in here right now. But yeah, bye. She's going shopping. So, and she see my Mario poster, guys.
Oh no, Mario.
Rush. That's what happens when you rush. That's a vintage poster, kids, from the 90s. But I think I like The Force Awakens better. The reason why is when I was watching The Force Awakens, it was like pure joy. I was smiling so much my mouth hurt when I left the theater. Rogue One was a good time, but it wasn't quite the same thing. I think that, and to JJ's credit, I think he kind of had to. I think he had to make a movie that felt like Star Wars, was pure sugar, was pure joy injected into your veins, because he had to get a new franchise going and get things started. And I think it totally succeeded. I think that there's some criticism that was valid too, but for the most part, I think that movie I enjoyed more. And it's not just because it was pure sugar and fan service, because I don't think it was, actually. I think ultimately I care about those characters more. Rey and Finn and Poe and Kylo Ren, I care about more than people in Rogue One. I just did. And so I've also, yeah, they're just, you spend more time with them and you like them more. And it's not to say that I don't like this kind of more dark, universe. It's just that I really like Galen Erso. I really like Jen. Cassian, he's like Han Solo, all the roguish nature and all the sort of bad aspects of Han Solo without any of the good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that, like, you know, he's kind of a badass, and I get why he made the choices that he did. You know, I don't sort of judge him for that, but like, you know, it doesn't mean I love him or whatever. So and the movie Rogue One seems overstuffed with characters. I think where The Force Awakens simpler, it has less characters to get to know, which I think is to its credit. Rogue One seems like it's got a bunch. So I would say for me, The Force Awakens still. And I know people are like, oh, it's just a rehashing of A New Hope. Well, I mean, they did a lot that was different, and it had, you know, kind of, you know, played on those beats. But so that's kind of how I would look at it. I'll talk about my ranking in a bit. But Travis, what do you think? Do you think that? How do you sort of compare it to The Force Awakens?
It's tough. That it's so different that it's hard to compare.
Agreed.
Because it is a standalone. With The Force Awakens, all these characters are being set up for more movies. And then in Rogue One, it's the entire story where we're really going to get about them, at least on film.
Right. It has to set up A New Hope, which it does. And I think that was... I don't know if I loved all aspects of the fan service ending, frankly. But anyways, go ahead.
But yeah... it's tough. I think I probably still prefer Force Awakens, but I'm going to need some rewatches, more rewatches. I've already seen it twice.
Right.
But on the second time through, I noticed more things that I had issues with. I got more into it. I think I knew what was going on more, so I was way more into it the second time. But I also noticed some issues.
What'd you notice the second time? You mentioned that. What issues did you notice?
Honestly, one of the things we're going to get to later is the CG Leia. The first time through,
oh my god, Adam should be here. We gotta wait for Adam.
All right, we'll get back into that when Adam gets here. But, and just like some plotting in the beginning of the movie, like it seemed like they were jumping around so much, and I see what they had to get a lot of plot in there. That's fine. And then I thought that Saw Gerrera's character was a little overdone, a little overacted. But
I like the acting done. I just don't think that there was a lot there in terms of time and whatever. But I thought Forrest Whitaker was just chewing on the scenery in a way that I really liked.
I can agree with that.
You didn't like him, Adam?
Mm-mm.
Oh, interesting.
It's stupid. You came here. You came to kill me. This took way too long. That was like, come on, dude, get to the point.
That was a little rough.
Oh, I thought I would.
And then he just gave himself up to die. I mean,
I think
there was no real reason.
Sure. So what I think that was one of the biggest examples of reshoots in action. The character makes little sense. He does these things. Lines in the movie, he's like, you know, from the trailer aren't even in there as like, you know, if you fight, what will you become? That was in one of the trailers, right? It's not in the movie, right? It's this kick-ass line. It wasn't there, right? Because I think it was different. I think the movie was different. I think that part suffers because you don't get that, like why he just kills himself. Like he's a badass. And one of the things I liked about his character though was I think we're seeing Gareth Edwards trying to say this guy's kind of like Darth Vader, actually, right? Because this is one of the most like. He is too extreme for the rebels, right? Like they think he's too extreme, like because he's a terrorist. I'm sorry, people, but he's a terrorist and he's too extreme for the rebels, and he's fought himself to no legs, and he has to have a breathing machine, and in a lot of ways, he kind of is evil in that he was gonna use this thing to because he doesn't trust anyone and he thinks everyone's out to get him. So he's really paranoid. And so I think that was a really interesting element that they could have done more with, which trying to make him be like, well, first off, breathing apparatuses like Darth Vader has are now common in the Star Wars universe, which is good. Like other people have them. It's a thing. But good people can do, exactly. They kind of acknowledge that. And I was like, good people can do bad things too. And I think that that's really good. I like that the rebels, like Cassian, kills someone right away in the beginning of the movie. He's just like, guy comes in, he's like, him.
I was just like, okay, well, he's a bad guy, you know?
And I think because good guys do bad stuff. And I get why he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to help the guy out. He would have slowed him down, or told on them or whatever, to the Empire. So he just shot him. I get that. It
doesn't make one of my favorite shots of the movie. like the first few minutes, and it was one of my favorite things because it's like
we're just offset guy in the beginning.
Yeah, because it sets. I mean, I didn't. It wasn't like it's not like I like seeing guys get shot in the back, but it was a nice shot to say, okay, this is the kind of movie this is going to be.
Yeah,
like it sets the mood and like kind of sets your expectations for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, I thought that was really interesting, and so I think that that's a credit to Rogue One, which is good guys aren't always good. These people are suffering, and they're doing whatever they can to defeat the Empire. And I thought that was really cool. So Adam, curious how you compare Rogue One to Force Awakens, which is the other newest Star Wars movie.
Sure. Force Awakens, obviously, and I missed some of your guys' discussion, so
Sure.
I might hit some of the same points. But it's an obvious retelling of A New Hope. But it does, the story continues. The story goes on. It's a new story. Whereas Rogue One, we know the end. The stakes aren't so high because we know that the plans get out.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
We don't know that everyone dies.
Sure. Spoiler alert.
Well, I figure we're in the spoilers.
Yeah,
now,
we
so
are.
But we know where the story is going to end.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we know how it's going to approximately how it's going to end.
Right.
So I briefly heard John say, Force Awakens, you leave that smiling, happy. It's a good, it's Star Wars is back, feeling. Yeah. Rogue One, again, and I'm probably going to keep coming back to this point, by itself, I think is a better movie. I think it is more rewatchable for me.
It might be more rewatchable in the end. Yeah, I agree with that. I think it could be.
My disappointment with Rogue One.
Let's just get right into it, guys. Rogue One brings off Grand Moff Tarkin as CG and Princess Leia at the very end. So
Princess Leia almost just ruined the movie for me.
Yeah, it was.
I got so mad when I saw that.
Right. Oh. I love that scene when they're passing the baton and Darth Vader's murdering everyone. That's incredible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh god.
And then they put it on the ship, and you're like, wow. I thought, are they going straight into A New Hope here? Like that would be pretty crazy if they did, but they didn't. They handed it off, and then there's Leia, and you recognize her from the back, and I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah. And then they fucking did it, and we got rubber face Leia, and I was like,
it's Polar Express Leia.
The thing about it is that they didn't need to do it.
No, they didn't. They didn't.
Like, shoot it from the back angle so you can see a hair bun sticking out of her hood, and you know who it is, Yeah. But no, she turned around the first time through. I watched it. She turned around, and I was amazed for that brief second about how great it was that I didn't notice how terrible it got. So the second time I was watching it, like when she turns around and she's looking down, it looks really good. Then she looks up, and it's terrible. Like,
right. So I don't know if Gareth wanted that ending in the movie, first off. And then there were a few other fan service parts, and I'm just like, cut that shit out, guys. It's just distracting from the movie. I think it took me out of it. But, like, you don't need to hammer everyone in the fucking skull at the end of your Star Wars movie. It's like, here are the plans. What do they mean? Hope. It's like, guys, yeah, okay, thanks for that, because A New Hope is the next movie, and that's what it... Thanks for not allowing me to use my brain. Like, it's just, it was too on the nose for me. It's like, I'm not saying Star Wars movies are intellectual films, but you don't need to do that. You know what I mean? You don't need to, maybe you do need to make them for people that wouldn't get it, I did. And I didn't love the ending. But I want to talk about Grand Moff Tarkin because I think people focus on that more than Rubber Face Leia. But I think that's, which was only for a brief second, and I don't think it ruined the film. I just think it's a bad way to end the movie.
It was a terrible way to end it because I left mad.
Right. I love that they brought it to Leia's ship, and that was basically going into episode. I like that a lot. I like how Vader was just wrecking the shit out of that ship. He goes straight in, and like they're trying to escape, and Vader's ship is right there, and then some people escape, and then they and smash. Like, that was incredible. Like, it's just that. So CGI Tarkin, a lot of people are getting upset by it. I don't think it matters. Like, yeah, okay, he looks fake. Sure, I agree. I don't care. That actually didn't bother me very much.
It didn't bother me at all.
No. Honestly. And honestly, I really liked having him in the movie. I thought it made the movie better. In fact, that was one of the things that Rogue One did that I thought was really, so at least the first time. I don't know, Travis, you saw it twice, so maybe you think different here. But like, I thought it was good. I thought it was a fun choice, and I thought he added a lot more to it. And I thought Krennic and Tarkin playing off each other was really fun, and Tarkin taking over and being a dick, and that was great. And it's really set up Episode 4, because you see Tarkin's in A New Hope, but he's not in anything else after that. Spoiler alert. And I'm just gonna say that the whole time for any elements of any Star Wars movie. But like,
only after you said the spoiler, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I'll spoil it first and then wreck your childhood. But Travis, so you saw the movie twice. What do you think about Moff Tarkin? It seems like I thought it was cool, but
yeah, I think that they could have done a few, shot him from a little further away, had more like reflections in the glass or stuff like that. But ultimately, it was fine.
They tried doing that in the first scene with him being with the dark face kind. They really tried to hide it.
But you can't have a movie about the Death Star without Tarkin. I mean,
well, you could, I guess, right?
Well, I'll let my nerd flag fly here significantly. And there's two books that lead up to this. With not even the one that leads directly into it, Catalyst. I haven't read that one yet, but there are 2 books with Tarkin in them, where he's working on like reeling people into who are making the Death Star and stuff like that.
Okay.
And Tarkin's character is amazing in those. Like, it's kind of amazing that they took this character who had 7-8 minutes of screen time in Episode 4, and made this amazing backstory for him and everything. So it was great seeing him again. Like, I was really glad to see him in Rogue One.
Tarkin is charming to the last in this movie, and I really liked him. Okay, so let's talk about fan service. They should have kicked the shit out of this movie. They should have not included C-3PO and R2-D2.
Okay, sure.
Okay, let's talk about Vader. I think he was fine, and we'll talk about that. But so everyone's getting ready to leave Yavin, right? And they're like, let's go. And then C-3PO and R2-D2 are there. And I'm like, why? Yeah. Why? What was that all about?
Presumably Leia's ship had already gone too, and they're supposed to be on it, right?
Oh, shit.
That was my question about
no. Well, okay, that's obviously weird, and you're right. They probably wouldn't have been in Yavin, but they were in her ship later, which they came afterwards, so it's possible they booked it to the space freighter immediately for whatever reason. I don't know. But I just figured that was just fan service that you didn't need to have. I like the one where they talked about them, when Luke talks about the speeder and it's just not worth as much, after they discontinued it. And there are those Imperial Stormtroopers talking about them discontinuing the speeder, they just did it. Yeah. That was fun. That was fine. The 2 people from the cantina that pick a fight, I could take or leave that. That was fine. But just R2-D2 and C3, they just don't need to be in the movie. I just didn't feel like that was necessary.
I don't guess it was necessary. I didn't have a problem with it being there. It didn't take anything away from it. It
pulled me out.
Yeah,
for that split second, I'm like, oh wait, they're there. Wait, why? And then we're back to the story.
Right, exactly.
I didn't like it.
It was like, hey, shiny thing, bye. It's like, I'm glad Anthony Daniels is working. I'm happy. Okay. So, it's a good thing for him. Okay, let's talk about Vader. He's in this movie. He's not in it a lot. So I think Vader's kind of goofy in the scenes when he's in his castle. No, I think his castle's cool. I think all the scenes surrounding that is cool. But when he's talking to Krennic, now, okay, this is a thing, right? So they went through intense pains to look at the old films and build a Vader costume that was exactly like A New Hope, right? Good job. That's the right way to think about it, right? Because if you didn't do it, there's going to be that guy online who's like, in frame 4, they have the Vader and it's actually purple when it would be red, green, blue. What magic?
I don't like your nerd shaming, John.
Exactly. I'm just saying, there's going to be that person out there that's going to wreck the movie, and everyone's going to like want Gareth Edwards dead. So you attended these things, but it was goofy in a way because the helmet was like sliding all over the place. You know what I mean?
Weird.
It looked really strange. In Empire, in Jedi, it's a more refined costume. It doesn't look as goofy. Vader has a lot more screen time. He does a lot more stuff. I don't know. I might have. Okay.
I have a question about Vader.
The outfit a little bit to make it not be as goofy.
I'm not a Star Wars super fan. I mean, I've seen the original trilogy and I like it. Did Vader use puns?
Yes.
I hated his line, "Don't choke on your ambition." I hated that. But is that typical?
It wasn't puns so much, but he had that kind of sense of humor.
Yeah, he had a dark sense of humor, right?
Like
okay.
Apology accepted right after he kills the guy and stuff like that.
Right, exactly, right. Apology accepted, Admiral. It was really dark. Like, yeah, exactly. After he murdered the guy, it is like, yeah, he did do stuff like that. Now, he wasn't saying waka waka after it and throwing a chicken, maybe, but he did have some dark jokes.
Yeah, it seems like that's a love or hate line. But people either love the "don't choke on your aspirations" or hate it. I thought it was hilarious. I loved it. It seemed like a great connection between the Anakin and Obi-Wan banter from the prequels and the dark humor that you get in the original trilogy. I thought it was a really great bridge.
So there were just a couple. I just want to firm up my thoughts on goofy Vader costume. There's only a couple scenes where I thought it was goofy. I thought everything in the hallway was fine. When he's choking him was fine. Everything it's just kind of a few points, like his helmet just seemed to slide around. It was odd.
It was specifically like his neck area that just kept catching my eye.
Yeah, exactly.
But it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely felt, though, that this costume was a lot simpler than the other ones, right? You compare his costume to Krennic's. His costume is very, very simple compared to Krennic's. It stands out. You notice that as much pains as they went to, they didn't balance everyone's costume to Vader's, you know what I mean? But in the original, but Stormtroopers up to Vader, it's the same design, right? So it's the same time that they designed it. I don't know. That just kind of was a thing, but whatever. But yeah, I loved seeing him in a Bacta tank. I really, really wanted to see Hayden Christensen in that Bacta tank, though. That would have been amazing. I would have cheered, honestly, in the theater if I would have seen it, just because it would have been.
We know how much you love the prequels.
I just thought that would have been great, but they obscure him, and he's this Hulk almost or whatever. So I thought that was kind of funny.
That would have been.
I thought it would have been kind of interesting.
Moment.
Yeah. Just as another tie into the prequels in a way that would kind of poke certain Star Wars fans the wrong way, which I thought would be kind of funny.
Have a digitally aged Hayden Christensen in there, or not even digital.
Just bring him back. He's available. He's
not really doing much.
Yeah, so he's available for your Star Wars movie. He'll do it. I bet. I'm pretty sure he'll do it. Pretty sure. They got the guy that played Obi-Wan in the prequels to do Force Awakens for a line, right? So I'm pretty sure Hayden Christensen.
Right.
Yeah. He actually said that he would love to come back for more, and I really hope they give him his own an Obi-Wan on Tatooine movie.
That's right. If they wanted to do an Obi-Wan movie, he's available, right? So Tatooine, yeah.
I don't want him on. No. Okay, so
hopefully they can pull him off, or he's not sunbathing the whole time, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Part of the reason that hate's too strong. Part of the reason I was disappointed with Rogue One was because it didn't do anything more than tell us the story we already knew happened. And so to see Obi-Wan doing whatever before A New Hope it wouldn't be, maybe it would, but I don't see any way that it could add to the story. It would just be an expansion of a story we already know, which Rogue One was. I really wanted Rogue One to surprise me and do something different than just saving the plans. Sorry to hijack. I don't know if this is a point later.
No. That's fine.
But I don't know if I watched and read a lot of theories about what Rogue One might have, and the one I really liked and really wanted was the Rogue One to Knights of Ren theory, where the 5 main characters, you become the Knights of Ren. And
how would that even work, though? I mean, they were supposed to be.
Watch the video. It's all
no, I watched it. I did watch it.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, they could have done it some way. They explained it some way. I mean, if I expected that the crew, well, this was also part of my own fault, but I expected the crew to die. And so when they died, it didn't hit me very hard because I was expecting it. I expected them to either die or get dismembered or
didn't expect
get
them all
injured.
to die at all. Like they're just
So-
like the
All
end.
to die. That was just kind of nuts. Like, okay, kill everybody that you've gotten.
So I mean, they could have been augmented like Vader in some way and become the Knights of Ren. I don't know exactly how they would have done it, but because, and again, it's kind of my own fault for speculating too much, but I wanted Rogue One to do something to have more than just the story of getting the plans. That's my main problem with the movie. But again,
Right, because it plays with
it's a
stuff
great movie.
that's what's already been established, I think is what you mean. It's not just a character they established, it's an entire like concept that was really big in the film, right? I think that the Han Solo movie might be an area where they might do stuff.
Sure, they can do anything with him.
Well, okay,
As
I'll
long
tell
as
you
it's
what
not
they're going to
CGI.
do. Kids, write it down. Uncle John says Han Solo will do the Kessel Run in the new Han Solo movie.
Probably.
Like, it's gonna happen. You think, I'm telling you, it's gonna do it. He's gonna do the Kessel Run. It's gonna happen. I don't know what the fuck it is, but it's gonna happen in the new movie.
Yeah, they have to do that.
Well, they don't have to. They just
Well, no.
will because it's something that they've talked about. So then, of course, they got to do it, right? They got to do it.
Yep.
I don't think they should. I think they should leave it a mystery, but they're not going to. Everything's not a mystery anymore, right? We can have everything now, I guess, but they're going to do it. So as much as I don't want them to. I wonder what else they would do in a Han Solo movie. They had to do him and Chewie meeting for the first time and him doing the life debt. They're going to do that probably.
So they
right.
They've talked.
I'm pretty sure we can write.
I don't
this
even
movie right now. I'm pretty sure we could all write.
exactly. Yeah, no, they've talked about how they want a Star Wars universe where they can have all kinds of different kinds of movies.
Right.
So I want the Han Solo movie to be a dude, where's my car comedy.
Well, I didn't expect you to say that of all things.
Oh. He's also gonna steal. He's also gonna win the Millennium Falcon from Lando.
Right.
Probably.
So there you go. There's the movie right there. And then what are they gonna do? They're gonna get into some Imperial entanglements, smuggling shit for. Oh, they're gonna do. Oh, I know what the end of the movie is gonna be. They're gonna get in deep with Jabba on that one smuggling run, right? You're gonna see all that, everything. Okay, there's the movie right there, kids, right there. 4 beats right there. You've written the Han Solo movie, everything. They're gonna do it all. They might even.
Do you guys, as Star Wars super fans, do you two want to see different kinds of movies in the Star Wars universe?
Yes.
Do you want to see like comedies and drama? Well, drama is already done, but maybe horror or different like genres of movies within the Star Wars universe?
Yeah, I could see like a lot of comedy's already been done with the Clone
Prequels.
Wars and Rebels.
I think the Han Solo movie is going to be the funniest.
The Han Solo movie might be kind of a space western type thing.
I think it'll be
That's
a
what I'm
space
hoping
western
for.
comedy kind of thing. I think it's going to be the funniest Star Wars movie because we're getting Chris Lord, like the guys that did the Lego movie and stuff like that, and they have some really absolutely. Lord and Miller, and they have some really great comedic sensibilities. I think it's going to be the funniest for sure.
Huh.
But what I personally, a lot of people have been talking about this, which is which is kind of like a spy heist movie, which I kind of thought this movie was going to be, but it was a war movie. So yeah, but what I don't think we're going to get
Mission Impossible.
Yeah, exactly. What I don't think that would have been kind of an interesting movie, right? Rogue One, Mission Impossible style, where they actually go into the Death Star plans to steal them. That would be kind of where
that would be interesting.
That'd be interesting. But I think that what we're gonna get is characters that have already been established, movies about them. What I'd like to see is movies that, characters that weren't established, films about them. But I guess we're kind of doing that with Force Awakens. I guess they're kind of like branching out in there or whatever. But I'm kind of curious to see how Rogue One's going to tie into Episode 8, because I believe that it probably will in some way.
That castle will probably be like I would.
Knights of Ren are going to be there bowing down to Vader.
I would imagine Kylo Ren has got to go off and train, so he's going to go try to reconnect with Vader by going to his castle.
He's going to swim in the back to tank and be like, "Grandfather."
Yeah.
Oh, it tastes like tastes evil. Ha 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 ha.
Okay, that was really gross.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'm not him. Okay, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it.
But I could see some relatives, like some Ursos, showing up or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting.
Okay. So more that I wanted from Rogue One, and this ties into the whole Knights of Ren theory, kind of. I was hoping that after I almost called her Rey, after Jin's father was killed by the Alliance, that Also, I have a question for you guys before I go on to that point. In A New Hope, wasn't Tarkin and Vader kind of rivals?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Like
so what I was hoping,
kind of.
Right. I was hoping that Vader was going to kind of swoop in and get Jyn and kind of turn her against both the Alliance and the Death Star. And that was kind of the way to wiggle her into interesting.
That would have been really interesting. Some people, so in some Star Wars stories before Lucasfilm wiped it all to the extended universe, Vader did take a secret mentor. In fact, that's the Force Unleashed game, and then a couple others as well. But I think that Snoke might be that, or Snoke might be Grand Plague, Darth Plagueis the Wise for Episode 3.
Okay. Here's another thing that I thought of about Vader and Snoke, and I don't think they'll do this because it'll completely change the end of The Empire Strikes Back. Wait, that's the last one, right?
Jedi is
Jedi. Return of the Jedi. Yep. Again, I like them. I'm not a huge fan.
Out.
So what if Vader killing the Emperor was actually part of his plan? He wasn't becoming good. He was actually working with Snoke the entire time and didn't become good, didn't bring balance to the Force.
Well, then going to Force Ghost Heaven, they were serious, they were really duped, right? Yoda and Obi-Wan were duped.
Is it Force Heaven, or is it just Force people afterlife?
It's possible, but I would say that's a huge, retro change. That's a huge, and how most people look at it. But I think it's interesting, but I don't think it's
going to happen. But it's something that I had thought of that would be fun.
Exactly. So.
Did y'all just go mute?
I did. All right. So I want to talk about how The Force Awakens. How Rogue One sort of stacks up. And I was thinking of an ordering of the movies, kind of how I look at them right this second. Again, when I get Rogue One, I'm going to watch it again, see kind of how I feel about it then. But and I'm going to see it again with my wife. She wasn't able to come watch it with us because it was snowing around here, and the babysitter wasn't available. But the roads were slammed. That was crazy. But it's all better now. So I'm thinking about my ordering of the new movies, and I think it's pretty much like this. Still pretty standard. I think it's A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Jedi, Force Awakens, Rogue One, Episode 3, Episode 1, A Phantom Menace, the Ewoks films, the Holiday Special, and the Clone Wars cartoon. And then Attack of the Clones. I'm sorry, Attack of the Clones.
Clone Wars cartoon is way higher than that. Attack of the Clones is not. But
no, I just meant that it's better than Attack of the Clones. Because
it is.
I just do not. I have the biggest problem with that movie, a lot. and I don't even really want on my list, but we have to order them. So, what do you think, Travis? How does what's the Star Wars ranking for you?
Yeah, I don't hate Attack of the Clones as much as you do. It's still my least favorite. Other than that, though, I think my list is identical to yours, except for the placement of Jedi, Force Awakens, and Rogue One. I honestly don't know what order I would put those in. Like, I know that it goes like Empire first. Actually,
A New Hope is first for me, because I think it's still, for me, Empire might be a more rewatchable movie, perhaps, and a more of a crowd pleaser, certainly. But I think A New Hope, just because it started everything, and it's just such a solid movie. And then I put Jedi before Force Awakens, because for me, like, I'm a sentimental man. Like, and for me, I think that Return of the Jedi has some weird, clunky moments, but I think that some moments that were just spot on and I think what makes it just a fantastic movie for me is the scenes between Luke and Darth Vader before they go to the Death Star to meet the Emperor. Like, that right there is so great, like, for me. And I think that the starting of the movie, where they just kind of do this mini adventure, where they just go, where they go to Jabba's palace. I want more Star Wars movies to start off that way. Like, that's almost a separate movie in a way. Like, it's its own contained thing, and then they get on to the main story, right? They just go do this thing, and then they do it. Hopefully, like, we can see that in one of the episode films, actually, just kind of getting that contained thing and then going right into the, this regular story, because I thought it was really great. But that's kind of why I'd put it before The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens is really good, but I just don't have the history there with Jedi, and it might over time. Things might shift around, certainly. What do you think, Travis?
Yeah, I guess I misheard you with your list, so I'll just start mine.
It's exactly the same, except all of them are changed.
Yeah. I thought that some of them were in different order. So I'd put Empire at the top. Then I think I would put A New Hope. Then you have the Jedi, Force Awakens, Rogue One cluster.
Right.
That may be in a different order on any given day. Then 3, 1, 2. I definitely put 2 at the end. I will say that watching the Clone Wars kind of informs 2 a little bit. Like, the motivations make more sense.
I bet it does.
Because the motivations in episode 2 are not really explained at all. It's just, here's some stuff that's happening, and Kamino's cool, and that's about it. But
Jetster. Need I say more?
Yeah. So yeah, that's my list. And then the holiday special.
Well, I think the Ewoks movies are far superior to the holiday specials. So.
Yes. Well,
I've actually never seen the Ewok specials.
Treat yourself. They're not great, but they're not terrible. They're not terrible. I'd like to get a sort of a more proper version than the pirate circus.
3D Blu-ray.
Exactly. Come on,
probably
Disney.
Not worth watching on your own, though.
Yeah, watch them. Right.
You got to watch them with people and riff on them, just because.
With drinks.
Yeah. But I think they're better than the holiday special by a lot. Adam, how would you sort of rank the films?
I've kind of gone back and forth. I think Empire and A New Hope are sort of my 1A, 1B. My favorite. I think Empire probably is my favorite, just because I love the Yoda training. That just makes it the best for me. Then I would put A New Hope right below it, because, like John was saying, it starts the entire franchise. You couldn't have any of the other movies without A New Hope. And it's a good story. After that, I might put Rogue One third. And again, it by itself, as its own entity, probably is my favorite movie. But A New Hope kind of ruins it at the same time, because again, we know. Sorry, I'm going to keep repeating myself. So
We do know what happens. That's for sure.
Right. So I'd probably
it's
say
kind of like watching the prequels, and you're like, well, kind of know how this turns out.
Yeah, but there's enough stuff that I mean, I'm not even going to rank the prequels because
it's probably
I've
fine.
seen them all once, sure. And anyways, so I would say Empire, A New Hope, Rogue One, Jedi, and then The Force Awakens. And again, I really like The Force Awakens too, but maybe after that trilogy is finished, I'll have a re-ranking of all of them.
Right. Yeah, I think that'll be
Jedi closes, that trilogy, which makes it slightly better than The Force Awakens currently.
Yeah, I'm really interested in kind of coming back and talking about this after episode 8 is out. And see where they're kind of taking it to. I have some ideas based on some kind of stuff that the actors have said a little bit. But yeah, that'll be something we can talk about later. All right, before we wrap things up, everyone, do you have any sort of last minute thoughts about Rogue One that you just had to talk about?
No. Nope, not really. I think we've covered just about all of it.
Yeah.
Before absolutely. We wrap up, though, are you going to give a pre-ranking of episode 8?
So I'll talk about something else, which I think is a little bit more interesting. So I was talking to my significant other, she, and we were talking, and I was wondering, I was like, there are some aspects of Rogue One that might have been more interesting to not be spoiled for, like the fact that Darth Vader's in it. I would not have put that in the trailer. Maybe it would have been so big that people would have leaked it out, kind of like, certain Harry Potter spoilers for later books, that I won't get into right now. But so I wonder if that reveal would have been more powerful in the movie had I have not expected it. So my thought was, and I ran this by my partner because it just, with any crazy idea I have, I like to get some different perspective. And my idea was, should I watch episode 8 or can I watch episode 8 without seeing any trailers for it? Can I? One of the big things that I like doing on Cheerful Ghost is post about the trailers and talk about them. We talk about them in the roundtable. Is that something I could do? She said no. I said it's possible, but I don't know if it's something I want to do. I don't know. I think going into a movie with surprise is really good. Oh, so I saw Arrival. I mentioned that I was going to talk about it and sort of briefly compare it to Star Wars 2. But I walked into Arrival almost knowing nothing about it, and that's the way you need to go into Arrival.
Absolutely.
And I maybe saw a trailer, but doesn't give away jack squat. The trailer is a generic alien movie, frankly, and it's not. Well, it is at the beginning, and then it isn't. And that was a really beautiful experience, and I don't think it would have been quite the same if I would have been spoiled to it. So I think that, I don't know, I'm just kind of wondering if maybe coming into a new Star Wars episode 8, not knowing anything. I'd like to, on one hand, I'd like to, I just don't know if I can get around the culture of trailers and discussion, you know what I mean? So
I mean, you have a step up in that you don't watch TV, so you won't see commercials, but
true.
YouTube, you're going to see a commercial before a video on that potentially.
I never even really thought about that. I watch YouTube a lot. Yeah. That's definitely.
If you're doing it on a computer, you have ad block. You can block the ads from YouTube, but
that's true. I guess I could do that before.
If you're doing it on mobile, you're screwed.
Yeah, I do. I watch on mobile a lot. Well, it's just something I thought about, and I did mention I was going to compare Arrival to The Force Awakens. I liked Arrival more, actually. I think they're really different movies.
Sure.
Arrival is kind of a cerebral movie. I think it changes how I think about life. Star Wars is a really good action serial, you know what I mean? And it's a really good movie. But I thought Arrival was just fantastic. It was beautiful. It was a moving movie, and I think that kind of just goes to show you that certain kinds of science fiction can really sort of elevate things. And this is the same director who's going to do the new Blade Runner movie. So holy smokes, is the bar set high for him.
Speaking of trailers, have you seen the trailer for the new Blade Runner movie?
I have, actually.
I have not.
As someone who's not a Blade Runner fan and I've seen it and I just kind of don't get it. I didn't nothing. It didn't really do anything for me because
I've never even seen it. I have no idea what Blade Runner is.
Yeah.
I mean, I know of it, but
Yeah.
no idea what the story is. So
sure, you should see it. It's an interesting movie. And I want to see it again because
didn't you just say you didn't like it?
well, I didn't like it when I saw it about 15 years ago, or whatever, 13 years ago. But I think that I think it deserves another rewatching because it's a classic. But so as someone who saw it about 13 years ago and didn't like it, the trailer kind of didn't land for me, only because it's like, oh, it's Harrison Ford and Ryan Gosling. Well, I've never seen them in a movie together. Something about replicants.
Yeah. Well, it's like
it's a teaser, right?
Trailer, so you're not meant to get a lot from it. But
it would be like never seeing Star Wars before, and then you see the Force Awakens teaser, and you're like, oh, okay, this is like 6 shots. Yeah. What am I going to do with this? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Whereas we sat and dissected the hell out of those 6 shots.
Yeah. as fans should. That's what they do, and then they had reaction videos, and those were fun. But yeah, so see Arrival. And I would say that I was going to have a segment where we're going to talk about if we recommend Rogue One, and I'm not going to recommend you see it because if you're a fan, you already saw it, or you're going to see it. And there's nothing I'm going to tell you that's going to keep you away. Like I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I think it's good, but I'm not going to tell you to go see it or not. Because Star Wars movie,
you're not going to ask that question. I have a question or a thought since you're not going to ask that question.
Okay.
Something totally different that I've been thinking about, comparing Rogue One to Mario Run, in that they're both very established franchises, and they both tried to do something different.
People say that Rogue One tried to do something different, and I will say that it's tonally different. But I don't think that it tried to do so much different. I mean, it's.
Do you think Mario Run is more different?
No. Mario Run is like New Super Mario Brothers, where you tap one button.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's not that
huge differences there.
No. It feels like New Super Mario Brothers on the Wii, where you just tap a button. And I don't think that's a bad game. I just don't think it's all that different. It doesn't feel that different to me. Rogue One feels tonally different than we've gotten, I suppose, in that it's more bleak and less like joyous, I suppose. But I think that it's different because it doesn't have a Skywalker in it. Well, it does actually. Spoiler alert, kids! It does actually, but it's not about them. So I don't know. I mean, I think it was. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I don't sort of buy that it was so different, I guess. But it doesn't mean that was bad,
Yeah, the tone was very different when they were on that Jeddah, and they were going through the town, and like all of a sudden the fire broke out. Then you got the walkers coming out. I was like, you know what? This feels more like Star Wars than The Force Awakens did, than any of the prequels ever even tried to. Like, it just felt Star Wars.
Right. They're pulling in the right elements. I kind of questioned whether you'd have those kind of walkers on a planet that's sand and water. It just didn't. It seemed like they're like, this is kick-ass. And it was. Like, I was loving it. But it didn't seem like it made any sense. Like you're on sand, and then you're going to go into the water, and then this walking thing, like, isn't going to sink. And, like, but then again, I mean, would it make sense, like, on a like cold planet either? Probably not, actually. Like some sand bank, falls into the snow as well. But yeah, they did pull in those elements, and it was fun. That whole scene was kick-ass. So
have we mentioned the android at all?
K2SO, we have not.
God, K2 was hilarious.
I'm surprised that we've gone an hour now and haven't talked about him at all, because he was awesome.
Yeah, he definitely was. I think that he was kind of the most human, I guess, character. I liked how he was honest, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, they keep upping their droid game. I really like K2.
Yeah. So a lot of people, and this was a moment where I was complaining about in the beginning, where the fan behind me just really had a hard time with K2 getting shot to death.
That death
that didn't really land for me, I guess. I wasn't as sad as maybe I was supposed to be. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest scenes for me, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, kind of for myself, I expected the rest to die or
Right.
turn or something. So when he died, that did hit me the most of all of them.
Sure. I think when he died, I was like, oh, well, it's over for everybody else. But yeah, I don't know. It just didn't kind of land with me in the way that maybe it was supposed to. But I did like his character, and I thought it was really cool. And reprogramming a droid was a lot of fun. That sort of aspect of it was really cool. So, all right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining us for the Cheerful Ghost Roundtable. The Cheerful Ghost Roundtable is an open discussion with people from the Cheerful Ghost community talking about Star Wars for this episode. But we mostly talk about games. We talked about games in the top of the show. And I'd like to thank everyone that joined us for this one. Travis, where can people find more of you online?
At cheerfulghost.com/Travis, you can find all my stuff there.
Awesome. And thank you for joining, Adam. Really appreciate you joining us for this episode. Where can people find more of you online?
If you Google Adam P. Farnsworth, I'm on Twitter and Facebook and Cheerful Ghost and a million other websites.
MySpace kids. He's on
MySpace. MySpace and Friendster.
Exactly. Yep. He's an original Friendster. And so you can find me at Cheerful Ghost.
I'm on Twitter a lot.
On Twitter a lot. Yeah, we all are. So yeah, I think we all are anyways. No, we all are. You can find me at Cheerful Ghost /Jay Dodson or at Twitter at Jay Dodson or on Facebook, which don't try to find me on Facebook. I don't want you in my feed. It's just not a good thing. Facebook,
you should stalk John.
Exactly. Just don't do it. It's all I post is baby pictures. You just don't want to do it. You just don't want to.
True.
It's just all day. So all right, everyone. Thanks for joining us for the Cheerful Ghost Roundtable. We'll see you next time.
Bye.